Hello. Today, I'm going to talk about how I taught myself guitar through YouTube. I'm I would say 95% self taught. I have had two guitar teachers, but the majority of my learning has been self taught through YouTube. So I'm going to explain how I did that. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the key thing to keep in mind if you want to implement this, you have to remain determined. You have to stay determined. If you actually want to learn guitar, if you're trying to get past learning Wonderwall, then you gotta stay determined. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a rigid schedule of when you want to play. That just means at least try to play frequently. And also a way to stay determined so that you're not dying when you're trying to, because ultimately guitar is supposed to be fun. So you're not dying when you're supposed to actually have an enjoyable experience. Is to play songs. A lot of people say, don't play too much songs, you gotta learn scales. But you need songs because songs are what make you want to play guitar. You don't want to start playing guitar because you hear someone playing the C major scale, like, that scale? Yes. No, it's because you listen to songs. So play songs, because that's what got you started. Hey, this is me popping in through editing. I just realized another reason why songs are so important is because you can learn techniques through songs. If you specifically pick to play songs that you know have techniques you don't know, such as like tremolo, finger picking, alternate picking, then you can actually learn those through the songs without specifically looking up a video with exercises for that technique, which is more mundane and boring. That's a funner way to actually learn through songs. So that's another reason why songs are important. You just have to specifically pick songs that you know are hard. So there's that. Don't just stay at the same, like I said, don't stay at Wonderwall, Riptide, none of that. Although Riptide's more a ukulele, but you know what I mean. So that's pretty much what I did. For the first 2 years, it was only songs. I'll go from song to song. And this is a good time to say how to find song tutorials on YouTube. For me, I would look at multiple different tutorials for one song if the song's popular enough. I'll talk about when the song's not popular enough. But I would look at multiple different tutorials and pick which version I like the best because many people have different ways to play songs. So I would pick the one I like the best and also which one's even available for my level. So, for example, there could be a song I like that has a bar chord, and let's say I don't know how to play bar chords yet. I'd be like, oh, I cannot play it. And then I find a version that doesn't have a bar chord because they put a capo or something. So I was like, I use that one. So it's that kind of thing. But if the song is not popular enough, my friend, this is very helpful for your learning journey. This is what really kickstarted me to bump up to the next level, in my opinion. I had to learn how to play the songs myself. No one to teach me. Not even virtually. It's okay because it helped. So basically, I found a video. It was basically how to play by ear, something like that. It's basically how to recognize the chords you hear in your song and implement it and actually play the song is very helpful. And I just started implementing that, and then I could actually sort of learn songs on my own. At first, I had to dumb it down. Trying to copy a riff, just hearing off the notes, that's exhausting because you have to pause it to hear every note. I would start with just playing the rhythm part, just play simple chords, because that's the easiest to hear and actually apply. But eventually, you will be able to get more complex. But yes, that's what I did. And another thing that you should do, since you have no teacher, is to record yourself. I used to actually have an old channel where I'd make covers, and it was a way for me to pay attention to what I'm doing, and also get into a performance mindset of okay, I'm basically performing this song, so try not to screw it up. Um, and it's very good, just for being able to perform and also look back at the video and see where you made some mistakes you might not even notice. So that's helpful. Um, Also just in general, watch a lot of videos about tips for guitar, that are not necessarily song tutorials, because song tutorials are very general. They're not going to give you that much help in the long run. They're just going to help you learn a song. That's the whole point. It's not going to actually teach you about guitar. Other thing I would say, since you don't have a teacher, you don't have anyone to pay attention to how you're playing. So that, like I said, recording yourself and watching back is helpful, but also while you're playing, pay very close attention to how it feels when you play, how you're positioning your fingers, what does it sound like, that kind of thing. Pay attention to that because that makes a big difference. Because you could be technically getting all the notes right, but the tone is off, or you're just positioning your arms in a weird position that makes it uncomfortable. That's a very common mistake with bar chords. So just pay close attention to that. And if you notice anything weird or it feels weird, look up a video on it. Like any question that you have, look it up. Reddit and Google are helpful for this too, because not everything's on YouTube. But I'm making this based on YouTube, but really I mean like over the internet. And even though overall it's very possible to learn guitar over the internet, there are a lot of downsides. So for example, you're going to be less inclined to learn about music theory and learning how to read sheet music. That was an obstacle for me. I still don't know that much about those two things, but I'm learning them now. But I've been playing guitar for many years. So, I've just been playing by ear for so long that if I kind of stop listening to a song for a while, that means I'll stop playing it as often as I used to. And that means, well, after a while I forget how to play it because I don't really know how to read sheet music. So, that's kind of a downside. Also, just being able to like play songs and like, yeah, I know these scales and like I know this technique and stuff. It doesn't actually teach you about like the essence of music theory basically, which is very helpful in the long run if you want to like make your own songs, if you want to like make arrangements of songs, things like that. Learning music theory is just like very important to be like an actual like bomb good musician. I'm not saying you can't be. I'm sure there's famous musicians who don't have proper education on music theory, but I'm just saying. Well, yeah, that's all I can think right now. It's very straightforward. Back again, yeah. I just thought there's actually reasons why learning over YouTube is more helpful than having a traditional teacher. Because learning over YouTube helps you be more independent with playing. You're just not as reliant on someone else to force you to get better. You have to keep yourself accountable. But also, like I mentioned before, since it's just you have to pay a lot more attention to the guitar. Because if you have a teacher, they're going to tell you, oh, you just muted. And you're like, oh, really? I didn't even notice that. But when you're playing yourself, you have to pay more attention to things like that. So, for some reasons, it's actually more helpful. Like, I think I'm actually kind of good at hearing things by ear. Like, I kind of train myself to be semi pitch perfect. I guess it's like what? There's like a term for not being fully pitch perfect, but I think it's probably because I had to learn by myself. Whereas someone who had a teacher probably not going to be as inclined to that. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I think there's some reason why it's more beneficial. Yeah. Also, some side notes. Get good at hearing your guitar. Learning just by yourself, you're gonna naturally be better at just listening to the music. So make sure you can tune your guitar by ear. It's not that difficult. Be able to hear your guitar and be able to recognize notes on all the frets just without playing them. So for example, on the E string, the third fret is a G note for both the high and low E string because it's the same note. This is an E string. So things like that. Also, just be able to recognize the different parts of the guitar, so like the headstock, the fretboard, the body. I would say look into like tones of different types of guitars. So like, what's the difference between a rosewood top and a mahogany top? what's the difference between acoustic and electric guitar, classical guitar. Just study the guitar itself. That's pretty helpful, I would say. Like, if you really want to have like a wide knowledge about guitar, besides just learning songs, I would say that. Obviously, I'm still learning quite a bit. I've only been playing for like 5 years, so I have quite a lot of learning. But yeah, that's what I would say. It's helpful. It's gotten me this far. I think the main thing though is drive. You just have to. You might not feel inspired to play guitar one day, but just gotta do it, man. Push through. Be determined. That's what I would say. Hopefully it's helpful. Okay. Hasta luego.